Welcome to Wonderland. How can I help you? We're currently on a back order of poison apples, so all shrinking elixirs are out of stock.
I'm a scholar at the Ministry of Truth, an organization dedicated to gathering and preserving knowledge. I'm currently doing research into alchemical myths.
The only reason you're calling them myths is because no one has figured them out yet. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but please, do go on. Do you have any particular favorites?
It depends on what your area of expertise is.
Name one, and I can see if it's in here. I've got everything from the transmutation of lead to gold, to the Jabberwocky, to the Elixir of LIfe, too. Stars, that's one of the ones I believe in the least, but if that's what you want, the Elixir of LIfe is said to require the water from the Fountain of Youth, along with some other standard alchemical ingredients.
Interesting.
But, well, none of that really matters because it doesn't exist.
Do you not do 6 impossible things before breakfast every day?
If I can do them, they aren't impossible. The only impossible thing is trying to keep all the shelves stocked, which, as you can see, isn't entirely successful. Until I'm given concrete evidence that a natural spring exists with the properties it is described to have, I'm going to presume it's meaningless nonsense.
But what if you did find it?
So that's the real reason you're here. You want your name in all the history books.
No, but it sounds like you do.
Then why? Why go off on a quest to find something that doesn't exist? Why waste your time? I'd like to think you have better things to do.
What does it matter? For all you know, I'm simply doing research, which, may I remind you, is my job.
I'm kind of astonished at just how much of a non-answer that is.
Stay astonished, because it's all you're going to get. Now, where is the Fountain of Youth? Folklorically speaking, of course.
It's said to be on an island that doesn't exist off the southern coast.
Thank you. I'll be sure to credit you when I find it.
Wait. You're gonna need someone who knows the area, and I've studied these maps as much as anyone you'll be able to find.
Didn't you say yourself that this is a fool's errand?
I never said I wasn't a fool.
I never did catch your name.
I should just leave you to wonder. Cersei Grierson.
I'm Alex. Alexandra Faber. In case I forgot to introduce myself. Nice to meet you, Cersei.
Is it, though?
Well, you've decided to take it upon yourself to join my hopeless endeavor for reasons I have yet to understand.
At the very least, you should understand the desire for knowledge. However, it's not as though you've been particularly forthcoming with your own motivations.
Forgive me for being hesitant to divulge my entire life story to someone I've just recently met.
Fine. We have days of forest ahead of us. Either you can start asking me questions I'm willing to answer, or I'm going to start talking about the history of this place. Due to the wind patterns in the area, a similar effect as the windward and leeward sides of a mountain has taken effect in this valley. The river flowing on your right is known as the Ebro. The wind is able to pick up moisture there and carry it west, resulting in this forest. On the other side, we have the White Elephant Hills, named after their high concentration of lime.
Shh!
Don't shush me.
No, not like... I just thought I heard something.
Do you smell that? Something's burning. Someone's nearby.
Do we want to see who it might be?
Not unless you want to get your brain splattered across the ground.
There's no reason to believe they're violent. We could just say hi.
We don't even know how many people there might be out there. We could be so terribly outnumbered that even the history books you so worship won't even have time to react before we're in them.
What do you propose?
Well, we can't keep going this way, and south is south, so White Elephant Hills it is.
Are you proud of yourself? We're going back into the forest anyway.
It's not inherently the forest itself that's the problem, it's what's in there. Besides, the density of ginkgos indicates that this is the yellow wood. I only know that because the name is derived from the ginkgos turning yellow in autumn.
Very creative naming practices.
It certainly makes it easier to remember when there aren't 3 layers of etymology behind why it's named the way it is.
Those 3 layers of etymology are interesting, which is why I'm not here for the geography.
Then why are you here?
Because you wanted to play in the sand.
First of all, you aren't covered in sand, you're covered in lime. They're different. And second of all, you know what I meant. Big picture. Why are you here?
I don't know how much gets out of the ivory tower of the Ministry of Truth, but my father nor in favor, if that means anything to you at all. He fell down some stairs and hit his head, and now he's in a coma, and despite having every resource possible, I have to figure out how to fix this. I can't just sit there and hope. Not anymore.
Then let's make sure we find that fountain of youth.
Even if it doesn't exist?
Especially if it doesn't exist. I'll figure out how to make one myself if I have to.
So, why are you here? I don't think you're solely concerned with my well-being. We go gallivanting off with every single Wonderland customer with a half-baked plan and thoughts of grandeur, so...
Who's to say that I don't?
I am.
Yeah, I don't make much of a habit of going outside, if that wasn't plainly obvious. And my reasons aren't nearly as justified as yours.
Must at least be justified enough to accept that you'd have to interact with me for weeks of travel without pause.
It's quite a long story involving a lot of family drama that I'm not going to bore you with.
Please, bore me with it. If I'm not bored, I'm going to start spouting nonsense about books.
That sounds like it could be interesting.
Only for the first 10 minutes.
10 minutes is 10 minutes.
Did you know there are letters that aren't used anymore? My personal favorite is Thorn, which looks like a P with tails extending up and down.
Maybe 10 minutes was an overestimate.
Would you rather I talk about Ash or F? How about Yolk? No? Fine. Then I guess we'll have to return to why you're here at all.
Like I said, family drama. The variety that developed long before me, and also the variety that means I've never met my extended family. My father is the youngest of 7, and when it came time to marry, they didn't have anything left for a dowry. My mother didn't much care, and I'm sure you could extrapolate much of the intervening time between that and both sides of the family washing their hands of the whole situation.
I don't see how that relates to this excursion.
Then let's take advantage of the time we have and see how long it takes for you to figure it out.
Which way?
Yeah, that's poison apples for you. I probably got some arsenic residue in my pockets. They love this stuff. Maybe go along the other path for a bit until the woods are thin enough that you can wiggle your way through. Alex! Alex! Stars, where could you possibly be? Alex! Nevermore. Oh, it's you. Alex! Alex! So that's how it's going to be. You're not getting snacks from me.
To whomever owns this house, please forgive me for my presence here.
Alex! Nevermore. Will you stop with that? I can't even use my one bird fun fact because you're not in a group. Yeah, I get it. Statistically, there's no chance I'm going to find Alex. But a small chance is still a chance. And if all of this is my fault, then I've got to figure out how to fix it. I'm not going to sit there and let her die.
Is there anything I can use to let Cersei know where I am? contes chema es futuros, cuando idu es venturas, contes stricte discisuros.
What are you doing now? Big giant building right there, but no, you choose to ignore that fact.
I know that voice. Why do I know that voice?
Alex. Nevermore. No, forevermore. You know this place is cursed, right? Like, really notably cursed. The kind of curse that makes you lose yourself. You might want to get out of there before it completely takes effect. This is why we don't trespass into strange houses.
I just wanted to get out of the rain.
That's fair. Just next time, find yourself a cave like a normal person.
I'm not going to take advice from someone who's clearly spent the better part of the night following a raven around.
Point taken. And now here comes the fun part. See if you can go recite enough poetry to get us a boat to borrow.
I feel like I should be concerned with the implications of that, but I also know it's true.
I didn't specify if we were given the boat because they were impressed by your encyclopedic knowledge or because they want you to go away as quickly as possible.
You say that like I'm not fully aware that you meant the latter.
You know me so well. Do you want anything?
Why'd you have to pick here? There's a half dozen shops on this block alone.
And there's also the highest concentration of people, which means that it's the most likely to fulfill our goal.
How could you possibly know that?
Stop questioning me, or I'm going to figure out just how much grain alcohol your books can absorb.
You wouldn't.
And then I'd perform a combustion reaction to see what happens.
You're not going to do that either.
Then either become a paying customer or start inconveniencing them. It's up to you.
Guess who's the new owner of the Demeter?
I sincerely hope that's a boat.
It is. Or, at least I'm pretty sure it is. We sail in the morning. It would be far too easy for you to get rid of me in the middle of the ocean at midnight, so...
Then I guess there's no harm in staying here for a few hours. One of my favorite parts of Wonderland was staring ominously at desperately lost people searching through the shelves for something that was probably out of stock. You okay? Normally that's the kind of comment that gets at least a slightly scandalized reaction out of you.
I'm fine.
I don't believe you.
It's my father. Everything goes back to my father. Of course it does. You remember how I was talking about those stairs, yeah? Whoever was the genius that built the Golden Day decided it would be a good idea to have stairs leading up into the building. Drunk on a cocktail of whiskey and regret, he was no match for those stone steps.
Oh.
Yeah. How's this for an island that doesn't exist?
You can take that tone after we've ascertained that this island does not, in fact, exist. Considering the fact that it's inhabited, I'd say that your chances aren't looking too great.
Maybe it's like a giant's causeway.
No.
I retract my earlier statement. This does appear to be an actual house.
You might want to stop smudging your grubby little fingers all over the windows.
Any particular reason, or just as a general guideline?
That depends on how mad you want a counselor to be at you. No, there's literally framed portraits of Bledsoe in there. Either this is his house or someone is very dedicated.
I honestly don't know which one of those is the more entertaining solution.
What are you doing here?
I feel like I'm missing some context.
This is, unfortunately, my older sister Reagan. How's the Brotherhood doing?
I wouldn't know. It's been years since I've been a member.
Well, forgive me for not staying up to date with your illegal escapades.
You've trespassed a half dozen times in the past week.
And you're the reason Dad is the way he is.
All I did was bring light to his hypocrisy, which you apparently still refuse to see. The Faber legacy is nothing more than a long series of cover-ups for the Ministry of Truth. It's been a decade. You have to know that much by now.
Yeah, I was 7.
Then I guess I can't do anything to prevent the next one being added to the list.
How do you mean?
And you, alchemist, do you not recognize chrome yellow at a glance?
What does that have to do with anything?
Do you not hear your heartbeat pounding beneath the floorboards? You didn't immediately look into the basement. Some explorers you are.
Alex,
Yeah?
I could be thoroughly wrong here, but I'm pretty sure this is the first and only time that I'm ever going to admit that you were right. This island doesn't exist.
What? Oh.
And we finally get there. I was concerned you would realize it was me in the yellow wood, or recognize Gonril selling you the Demeter in West Egg, but I guess there was no reason to worry.
What I don't understand is why Bledsoe is doing questionably ethical experiments with centuries-old lab equipment in his summer home's basement.
Bledsoe has clawed his way up from nothing, and what's more power than going down in the history books? You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Fine. You want to know why I'm here? I have to prove to my grandparents that I'm not a waste of dephlogisticated air. Happy? That's not the same.
You try telling yourself that.
How about you try telling yourself that? You were erased from the Faber record so thoroughly, you don't exist.
And I'm having a great time. I can't wait to stand back and watch as your perfect little world burns to the ground when Bledsoe's sordid little secret gets out. The question is, will you be the one to throw the match on the fire to make sure it doesn't engulf you too?
What do you want me to do?
I want you to realize the glittering flaws in the system. Everything the Ministry of Truth has built upon is a lie to one extent or another, including the whole concept of an Elixir of LIfe in the first place.
Records date back to long before the Ministry of Truth was founded.
Do they? Records can be falsified.
So nothing can be trusted. Including you. I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm going to start making camp. Seriously, if you'd like to join me. I used to stay up late and imagine what Reagan was doing. Guess I know now.
Did you ever get close?
I don't think so, honestly. I don't think I knew the world outside to imagine anything more than a cartoon villainy. That was the only reason my father demonized her the way that he did. The way he talked about how she was involved in burning our oldest repository of books. I was 10. My best friend, Slurple, the most wonderful person I've ever known, got trapped in there. Now it's hard to believe that it was so one-sided.
So, what does all of that mean, big picture, for our quest?
I don't really know. The rational part of me believes that if given enough time, Bledsoe would figure it out. There's a reckless part of me that wants to share today's revelation with the rest of the world, no matter the consequences.
I want you to know that if you choose your so-called rational side, I am going to personally make sure that the next time you're frequenting Wonderland, you will be privy to the worst customer service ever seen.
I didn't realize you needed your name to go down in history that badly.
That was my initial motivation, but letting the Ministry of Truth lie to everyone doesn't sit right with me. I'm aware this affects you much, much more directly than it does me, so you should have the final say, but you deserve to know where I stand on this.
Can I think about it?
Yeah. Knock knock.
So, you've finally come to your senses.
I'm just here to offer a truce of sorts. From Alex. And you're sure you're not going to feel bad in a week? A month? I don't have any way to reverse the apple's effects.
It's the only way to prevent her from hurting anyone else. We have a score of other libraries and hundreds of people. I can't take that chance. And before you start arguing that it was a rash decision, there's not going to be a better opportunity.
And your father?
The price I have to pay is continuing the Faber legacy of covering up everything that could possibly tarnish it. I can't justify that, not knowing what I know now. Besides, If anyone is going to invent an elixir of life, I know exactly who to place my bets on.
Don't get your hopes up too high. I don't even know if it's possible. In all likelihood, it's not.
That's not an attitude that gets you into the history books.
I know, but also I don't really care. Of course, now you've presented me with a challenge, and I'm going to do my best to solve it, but it's because I can't leave problems alone, especially when I already have ideas coming together.
And let me guess. I'm going to get to hear about it in all of its glorious detail.
And you shouldn't expect anything less.